Welcome to the Oh So Spurs podcast. And hello, Nolan, in the comments there. First in, mate. Good to see you. We just felt we're going to have to drop like 3 episodes in the next 24 hours because so much stuff is happening. It's impossible to keep up. And it's like the best problem you could ever have as a football fan, that your side is signing too many exciting players to talk about in one day. But yeah, and to talk about it with me are the brilliant crew of Joe. How are you, Joe?
I'm well, mate. Thanks for asking.
Good. Got brilliant Max. How are you, Max?
I'm doing great. Yeah, especially after today.
And Deej, how are you, sir?
Today has been fantastic. Can't ask for much more, realistically, from a footballing standpoint, at least.
2 marquee signings. Rumours, I'm just going to choose to believe right now that we're going to get a windfall of investment because that's fun, because it insinuates we're just going to keep going down this track. And apparently there's another player we're going to go for, and Wharton seems to be the name going around now. But it just feels like Christmas at the moment. Like we were saying this before the show, but when you grow up, you lose that little spark and magic of excitement and the unknown, because you kind of realize that magic doesn't exist and all these things. But it does exist as a Spurs fan, because Johan Lange just you wake up in the morning, you look up, and you look over the edge of your bed, and he's just standing there with a new signing. And you're like, oh, I didn't even know this one was coming. It's just so exciting, isn't it? It's just, who saw that coming?
It's also better too. Like, do you know when you were little and you would sneak around the house trying to find where your parents had hid the Christmas presents? Well, this is, you didn't find them. You didn't know it was coming. It's such a surprise. It's so good to have it like just no one's... I mean, I'm not really on the internet, but did anyone have any leads that this was going to happen, or was it just dropped?
No, not even an ITK or anything. Yeah. I mean, there's like been previous links, but yeah, nothing at all. So I think we call Lange Clause maybe working title for the.
And hello to you, Jody. How are you in Dorset? And to you, THFC 4782. That's a great name. I'm guessing your mum or dad named you after Spurs. But they say best window we've had in years. Cracking stream, boys, even though it's just starting. Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's well, I keep thinking like, yeah, these 2 signings just happened, but we've already signed Takai, we've already made Tell permanent as well. Mm-hmm. The squad, when you look back even to like 12 months ago, like it's amazing how quickly you can just feel better about the whole thing. Like we've only really got in my eyes now, I'm thinking, to sign that midfielder, and we're linked with Wharton, and a wing back. And then you're kind of like, are we back in that position where you had under Poch whenever the squad was really good? And you're like, we just need one, or you're starting to think like a piece. You've got the piece for every position finally. And we haven't had that in a while. And now it's more about like you're getting to the layering point, like Liverpool have, and like City have, and like Arsenal have, where you go, I've got a decent side, but I'm going to try and make it even better, rather than, oh my gosh, I've got glaring holes I need to fix. Or am I getting a bit giddy, guys, with the kind of just excitement of today?
It probably makes it easier to do those things because you don't have to spend your budget across 4 players. You can spend it on 1, like Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool are doing on 4 players, but I think it does make it easier when that. And it's getting to that point where we have just a solid squad across the board. But I wouldn't expect... I mean, I'm probably being pessimistic, but will it slow down now? Do you think we'll go to sailing players for a little bit and then people will get upset again? Where is everyone? We're not signing anyone. And then out of nowhere, we'll have another drop. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I don't want to keep going and just derail your question. So ask someone else.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I was going to say the Wharton one. If there's rumors about Wharton, does that mean he's not coming?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's over. Anytime you hear a player's name and it's not "here we go," it means it's impossible. It's just not going to happen.
There's so many RTKs that are losing their grasp on their jobs, aren't they?
They can just throw darts at a board and one of them will be right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know.
Do you reckon it's like a side quest from like Levy, Lange, and Vinay? They're like, let's crush the ITKs.
Well, for Lange, it seems like the main quest. I think, because if the ITK doesn't get a hold of it, that means that most likely other clubs don't get a hold of it, which means that you're not really, if you have a player you're interested in, then you can kind of essentially complete the deal without other clubs even knowing that you're working on it. So like we've had plenty of times where we've been rumored to be like linked to a player, and then whether or not those rumors are true, you get like rumors of bids and other clubs bid, and then you create a bidding war, and that'll drive up the price millions of pounds sometimes. And then something like this, especially where there's something with the release clause, where we can get the release clause triggered and convince him of the project and have him come before anyone hears about it. It's just makes business so much easier.
You've just touched on something that makes me feel different this week, and that's kind of like made me feel a bit giddy. Is this is 2 players in a row that all the reports say, as soon as Tottenham came in and told them about what they wanted to do, they just completely blanked their existing clubs, said, I don't want to go anywhere else. Get me in my car and get me down to Tottenham. I want to sign for them. And it's just happens so fast. And I can't imagine a conversation with a player of, if you come here, we're going to try get back into the top 6, would lead to that kind of behavior. It makes me feel like we've got a vision, we've got a plan, that these players are buzzing about the idea of being a part of, even more than that outweighs the kind of idea of just sitting around and waiting even longer in the hope that one day someone else comes and gets them of a club Tottenham stature or bigger. So, and there's all these rumors as well about like investment, all these things. It does make you just wonder, like, this isn't normal. Spurs we went big on Ndombele and Sanchez. We did, like, this is bigger than that. This is the biggest spend we've ever done in a week as a football club, ever, by a country mile, and within 24 hours of each other. And Joe, you mentioned, like, does that mean it's it? But even if we go and then sign a 3rd player in Wharton Friday, tomorrow, who cares if that's most of the work done? Like, what a change in Tottenham just to be like, let's get this done early before pre-season, 3 marquee signings, bosh, a couple of late ones later on. Have fun, like, guys, and like enjoy pre-season, actually be able to use your whole squad and embed the players. Does it feel different to you guys?
I kind of feel like, to benefit the doubt to the club, that this was the plan from what the new stadium would bring, but then COVID and all those kind of stuff that happened, and a few missed signings as well with Ndombele kind of made it slower. But it feels great. But we have been spending money. But now it's that we're spending money all at the same time. What do you guys think while Jim's gone?
No, I'm here. I just thought my dog was barking and I was looking. Oh, God, I have gone. Yeah,
he's gone.
Go on, you carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I definitely agree with your point about the stadium giving us these sorts of opportunities. But I also think our PSR position has been obviously super significant, but we just haven't kind of seen the effects of it. We haven't been able to reap the benefits of it because we've had, the PSR situation in a great place and then not had the cash situation in a good place. So if this investment rumor is true, which it's, fairly likely that it is, based on how much we're spending, I think now we kind of have both boxes ticked. And that's where not only can we, sign players like of this caliber, but we can also do something like go and trigger a release clause for £60 million, where other clubs maybe weren't even aware. And also, even if they have £60 million in their budget for a Morgan Gibbs White, they can't necessarily pay it in the same terms that we can because of our PSR spot. So, yeah.
Can you elaborate more on, for anyone that doesn't know, what the rumors are for the investment?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically being bandied around that some are saying it's from Saudi, some are saying it's from the US, or whether it's a sponsorship deal. It's completely, whether it's additional money from ENIC, that's kind of everything that's been circling. So we're unsure exactly what it is. I've heard the figure 300 million also thrown around, and so yeah, it's basically, I think some like Matt Law came out and was like, it's pretty likely that this is being coupled with investment just because Spurs don't typically operate in this fashion. So yeah, that's pretty much the rumor mill, I guess, at this moment.
I'm not ITK. I never pretend to be, but I do hang around with a lot of people in this circle who might be ITK. So they are. And the information I have is, when I know Matt Law winds a lot of Spurs fans up and because they're kind of, sometimes the articles can be a little bit like provocative on the headlines. But when Spurs want information out there, Matt Law's one of the first people they go to. Like he's rare. I think if you look at his history, regardless of what you think of him, he's rarely wrong. Like when he says something's going to happen, it typically happens. And there is a relationship with the club, it seems, at some kind of PR level with him. And if he's starting to report things, there's probably a bit of smoke there. It's not just completely made up. Whereas with a lot of other kind of resources, there often are. And something that is completely fact, and you can find it in Tottenham's finances right now if you want to go find it. Tottenham have a £50 million credit facility with HSBC, where they've effectively pre-agreed a loan facility that they can draw down on any time of £50 million. So we can, and we might, they don't have to, when they draw down on that, it's not like when ENIC had that previous option where they had the £150 million, where you'd find out about that. They don't have to notify us that they're drawing down on this. So we wouldn't know until the next set of accounts. But there's also a chance Spurs just went, let's draw down on the 50 million quid. You know, that sanctions 3 good players worth of upfront fees, and let's go for it. Which might be what we've done as well. But either way, I think what we can see of our playing eyes, the eye test, is that there's ambition to get stuff early this year, which is brilliant. Yeah.
That is good that it's coming in early too. I really like that. I mean, I didn't mean before that we weren't going to sign anyone else. I do feel like we'll sign a 6 still. And Terry said before, if it was Wharton and we signed Robinson, I would be happy not to sign anyone again for years. That'd be elite, those 2. But what I mean is that I feel like we'd need to go into fixing the squad numbers up and getting some people out the door first, because there's just a lot of people in the squad now. I know a lot, sort of 20% of them are kind of already out the door, but there still needs to be some work with getting some players out the door, I think.
Do we ever worry about that though, Joe, a bit? Like,
as fans, yes, we over worry about it. It's not our responsibility to care about it, really. Like, just, but
like, if we were West Ham or someone else that was a bit more on the buffers financially, like, I would be concerned. But I feel like Spurs' position where, like, if you don't sort it now, we've got plenty of time. We're so well organised and well run from a kind of EBITDA perspective that we buy the luxury of not really having to panic. Like, okay, good move. Get the players you need first before worrying about selling players. Like, use that to your advantage. Other clubs can't. They're looking to sell first. And be the one who can take advantage of those clubs by buying their players. And then, you know what? What's the worst case scenario? You try sell Basuma, you don't get to sell him. Spurs are going to be all right. Like, yeah.
I mean, I don't think we need it for cash, and it will make us in a better position for negotiation with selling a player too, because we don't need to sell to buy another player, which is very handy. I just mean it in terms of our squad as a whole, with the different rules that you need for players in different competitions and that kind of thing. But again, as fans, we shouldn't really care about it. Like, the only reason we care about it is that someone might get upset that they're left out of the Champions League squad, and then we think, oh, that could ruin the dynamic of the dressing room. But we've got a lot of forwards now. Do we just keep Richie and then we just say no more people in the forward line and no more sales? What do you think about Richie in that situation?
I'll leave that to Max and Deej to
mull
over. Deej is smiling.
You want to go, Deej? You should
go for it. I'll
get the next one.
I'm curious to see what you think.
Well, okay. So I have a couple points that I've been thinking about regarding our outgoings. I think number one, the fact that we've got, some marquee signings situated prior to like the we need to sell thing means that we can actually kind of look forward to some of these outgoings and the potential money that we'll bring in. Like you said, we're pretty well placed to do that. I think, we'll probably see the likes. Obviously, Brian Hill will probably head out the door. We've already loaned out Belize. Solomon, I'd imagine, will be sold. Trying to think who else off the top of my head, but we'll have a lot of loans too that come out sort of out after the tour. But the other point I was going to make was obviously the Reading game is in what? Is it the 19th, I think? So, the players will be jetting off for preseason pretty soon. And when that squad list comes out and we'll see who hasn't traveled, I think that'll give us a good picture of, who's likely to leave for certain. And then, within that time period, like while the first team is away playing those games, they can sort out their moves, you'd hope. So, oh yeah. And then with Richarlison, I mean, I do think that he'll probably travel. I think if he does leave, it would maybe be later on in the window. I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I do think that, his work rate, his play when he's fit, which is obviously a giant asterisk next to that. I think I could see him liking having Richarlison in the squad, but his availability is obviously, like I said, a giant question mark. So I also wouldn't be surprised if there's interest from a place where he wants to go, aka a non-Saudi club, then we could see him heading out. I think for him, it's going to be about playing time because he'll obviously want to start for Brazil next year in the World Cup. So if he can find a good destination, Spurs are happy with the fee and he'll be the starter and wherever that is, then I could see him going off in that, in that context.
And just quickly to catch up on the comments, happy 9 months of being a member, Jellybean. I think you were one of our first ever subscribers. So thank you very much. Shout out to you.
The Jellybean.
Oh, look who just rocked
look who's
up.
here.
Look who just rocked up. Talking of legends, it's Sean the Kudus there. Mate, what are you doing up this late? It's a bit late for you.
Oh.
I hope we're not going to get you in trouble. TH4782, like, it's a great name. Like, I just
What is
I
that
would love to have
profile
been at
picture? What's the face mash there?
It's like a drag. It's
like a
drag.
It's Conte and Dragusin.
Yeah. How did that?
So, Magic Box finish 6th and win a European trophy. I mean, I'll take
Assuming
that.
this is the goal for the season. Well, winning the European trophy, I would
Champions League.
finish. I would.
I'm not
finish
doing it again.
20th if we
I
won
loved
the
it.
Champions League.
I'm not doing 17th again on the trophy. I loved it.
Loved it, lived it.
I wouldn't swap it. I've done it. But it's a bit like skydiving. Done it. I do not want to ever do it again. It's happened. Okay. It's over. Richie isn't a bit harsh. I think he was. I think without him, we wouldn't have a European trophy, Magic.
That was kind of what I was going to want to talk about a little bit, is that I think we're kind of, the problem is that Richarlison, when he is fit and available to play, is a more than serviceable backup. The problem is he's just not fit and available enough to be a decent backup some of the time.
Yeah.
Conte and Bale. Interesting.
Oh, it's Bale? Oh, that makes so much more sense, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah,
Bale's
Conte
pony
and
is a
Bale.
bit higher, maybe.
Conte
Yeah.
and Bale, that's quite fun. It's Conte, Bale, and Dragusin, really, I think, mixed together.
Yeah.
More of a threesome there, but
Can you give us your reasoning as to why those two? Why you?
Yeah.
How did this face match?
And
How
what's
did
the
this abomination
4782
make you
stand
feel?
I've got
Well-
so many questions.
While he's answering, I can't. I think all those were a chance of leaving, except I don't think Bentancur will be going anywhere.
No.
Yeah, I think he'll sign a new contract, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bentancur definitely, as long as he plays in like more of a double pivot and isn't solely responsible for the defensive stability of the team, I think he's still very much a valuable asset to have. So I'm going to. I think he'll probably stick around. I don't know. I feel slightly similar. I feel like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Davies leaves. I think he could go either way, because he's not necessarily taking up too much valuable squad space, if that makes sense. Like, at worst, he might be left off of the European team if we decide that that's important. But I think he also provides a level of he's a good kind of like I don't know what the like locker room setter. He's like a good leader. I think he's got a good like he's someone you want for the locker room, even if he's not necessarily playing.
But Bentancur's the type of player that when he's not starting for you, that's a very good sign, because he's the type of player that goes to a mid-table side and he's instantly their best player, and that's the kind of sign that your squad's moving in the right direction. When those very good players are having to fight for a chance to play, and I think that's a great sign. that we're getting to that point. And just quickly shout out to Terry because he's been a sub for it. Terry, new picture though, looking good, mate. We need to move Richie. Yeah, true. Before he gets injured, if we're going to sell him, it needs to be before he. But I think it's one. If we don't sell him, I'm fine with him staying. But if we get a decent offer, you probably want to say Spurs take the money.
Yeah.
Sean again. Just Sean can't have.
Love you, Sean. Sorry, this is my first time encountering your name, so brilliant.
The surname in the Kulusevski, it's genuine surname.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's how he ended
It's
up.
Icelandic.
Yeah, Icelandic. Kulusevski. Yeah. He's now got. He actually has. He's got 2 children and a wife, all called the Kulusevskis as well. Do you think Kulusevski could?
Can I get on my soapbox about Kulusevski really quick? Because I just feel like we're doing a recency thing with this guy. Like this is like he was like arguably, one of the best attacking midfielders in Europe at the beginning of the season. I don't think that his performances at the second part of the season illustrate anything other than the guy was like had been absolutely demolished, ran him into the ground. And I think that's also like it goes with the pros that we have from the Morgan Gibbs White signing. But yeah, like this is like a franchise level player that we have that we signed for such a reasonable fee. And I think like regardless of where he plays, like he's had minutes at the 9 position and been brilliant. He's obviously played on the right and been brilliant under Conte, and he played as a 10 last year and looked unplayable. So I think like I understand people's concerns with having Gibbs White and Maddison and the playing time in that respect, but I do feel like I've been making this point over and over again. Like we had Maddison and Kulusevski as our 10s last season, and they were both dead by the end of the year. So I think, as much as it is about sharing the minutes, like it's preserving the actual, health and wellness of the player, because their form will go hand in hand with that. So a big Kulusevski guy. So I just wanted to,
I completely agree with you in all.
I'm not going to win this fight, am I?
Except
you three
Jim,
are going to kill me.
No, Jim, I think I might be with you on this one. I have a feeling that he might want to leave. I just don't know why. But there's no evidence to this, so don't ignore me if you want to. Mute the stream right now if you want to ignore me. But I don't know. Even just the way he walked in on the Spurs videos, the club released ones, he just didn't seem that excited to be back. And there's nothing in that, but I just kind of feel like maybe he wants a new challenge. But yeah. Jim, I mean, you tell me.
I just want to say too, I think your reasoning for that is because he went on that Swedish podcast after the first, like, what would it have been? So we signed him in the January window, and then the following summer he did this like podcast with these Swedish guys, and he was talking about how there's like this one other club that he wants to play for, but he like wouldn't say what it was. And so I think about that a lot. So that would go with your point.
He's the type of player in your squad. You're gonna put it this way: if we sold him, I think the chances of being in the top 4 and winning something go down.
Yeah.
Is he absolutely pivotal to our season? Probably not. Is he important to the squad, and does he offer significant value, particularly in congested parts of the season, having a quality player who can play across 3 positions? Absolutely. Would we be silly to force him out? Yes. But at the same time, I think he's so ambitious and driven, which is partly why he's so good. If a club of a similar size said, I'm willing to make you a main character and on my side and build and we're also going to challenge for trophies this year and you're going to play every week, I think he would prefer that option than sticking around with Spurs as a second choice.
I think he fits perfectly though with what we've got. This like the flexibility in our forward line does work really well with him, because he can obviously play anywhere in the sort of front 4 positions to a high standard, and so can a couple of other players now as well. So I definitely can't see a problem with injuries in the forward line with who we've got in the squad at the moment. So if it was my choice, I'd keep him around, but it's obviously I have nothing to do with it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think another reason why he might not be as excited to show up is because he's still, super injured.
True.
And like
that's kind of true. He's not just injured; he's super injured.
Yeah, he is still super injured, because I don't remember what the timeline is, but I remember he's not. I don't think he's slated to be back by the start of the season. I'm I don't know. I broke my ankle last year, and that was miserable. So I can't imagine if like my main like job / source of joy was like completely basically stripped from me for a period of a couple like months. That would not be the most fun thing to do. So I can imagine that's probably partially why he's not necessarily in there. And I think that the thing that this Gibbs White signing, we were like talking about him like he's going to be like a nailed on starter, but I think that buying him like to use this term over Madison, because like we're thinking of him as more of a traditional and like the traditional number 10 role. But even if we wanted him more in like a double pivot, then you're buying him over like Bentancur and Bergvall. So we're still buying him over someone if we expect him to start. But I think that to respond to this, I think that we under a new manager, players are going to have a chance to like win their spot. Like, especially when you're at a club like Tottenham, like your transfer fee isn't going to correlate with how much you play. Or at least it shouldn't. So like I think like there's a world where we bring in Gibbs White and Gibbs White's fantastic, and we have Kudus and Kudus is fantastic, and then Kulusevski comes back and Kulusevski outplays one or both of them in their positions and gets a run of games to start, and like that's the kind of we haven't had that depth where we've had like multiple players who have very strong arguments to like start matches and like really like have like a selection headache in a while, and I'm very excited to have that issue again.
The only time I can really remember when we had an actual depth in a position was Walker and Trippier. Like there was never really a time when I can think of where we've just had super depth in a position.
Yeah, I also think it ties into like how Spurs have struggled with selling players over the years. Like, let's say, first of all, Kulusevski's stock has never been it's about the lowest it could be right now, because he looked out on his feet at the end of last season and he's nursing an injury, right? So like that compared to the beginning of the year is you're not getting anywhere near as much as you probably would have. Whereas I think if you let Kulusevski come back into fitness, and let's say throughout the season, you have, Kulusevski, Gibbs White, Madison sharing 10 minutes, Kulusevski battling out on the right side too. Even if, by the end of the year, he doesn't want to, he wants more game time, him leaving means that we get his actual value. Whereas, I think typically in the past where it's like we have a starter that will never sell and then we'll have a backup that probably won't really work out, means that you always kind of, you don't really end up shifting anyone. So I think that's where like having competition is so critical.
I think there's a couple of good comments coming from Sean and Soul Sniper. And hey, Soul Sniper, I know I see you on some of the other stream last night, and you've always been in ours as well, but good to see you on Last Word on Spurs as well. But you and Sean both putting the good point forward that Johnson's role next season may well be that he's a backup number 9 rather than a right winger. They try it with him for Wales, right? But it's never really going to work for him, that role, has it? It sounds like it should make sense that he should be a great poacher, he's a decent finisher, but has that day gone? Are we like, we're not really in a world where you kind of just have that's your striker and they just do the goal scoring thingy. Yeah. Football's changed so much to the point where well, we've seen Man City win the league without a striker before Haaland. We've seen Arsenal continuously build squads that challenge for the title without standout strikers. I just wonder if Spurs maybe are looking at not getting a proper backup for Slanky, and like these guys are saying, just the likes of Johnson can slot in.
I'm not super opposed to seeing Johnson run as a secondary striker, to be honest. I mean, obviously he doesn't have like the aerial prowess of someone like Solanke, but if you go and watch specifically, if you watch how Kudus likes to play, a lot of it is getting to the byline and finding somebody to tap home a finish. And if there's one person we know who can tap home a finish, it's Brennan Johnson, because he has fantastic positioning in the box, and that's one of those things that's really, really hard to teach a striker. And if his natural positioning that he gets from being a winger, if he can translate that to being a 9, and obviously I don't know if it will translate because it's not necessarily the same thing, but I think that it'll be very, very interesting to see if it's something that's tried, because obviously right now it's just happening up in our imaginations. But I think if it were to happen, it could work. It could work pretty well. I was looking at numbers for average XG per shot when I was looking at Gibbs White, and Gibbs White's like middle of the pack for attacking midfielders and wingers. And so I was looking to see who the highest and the lowest was, and the highest XG per shot is Brennan Johnson, believe it or not. So which vibes with like the idea that I think most people have of him is him. He puts himself in good positions to get on the end of high quality chances and put them away, and that's can you really ask for much more than from a traditional role from a striker? And he also runs a lot. Like, he's not going to be someone who doesn't press, and if he does both of those things, I think that especially if we have like Morgan Gibbs White and /or players like, Bergvall, Kudus on the wing, Madison, then we can kind of get the ball progression. We can leave him out of the ball progression a bit more and use him as more of a as just like a poacher, I guess, a fox in the box, if you will.
Yeah, I think you have to like play Johnson with space in front of him, and I think us signing Kudus is it's obviously like could be considered a issue for Johnson as far as his minutes maybe going down, but I do think it'll serve him really well because he'll be able to really shine in the games where his profile is much better suited. Like I think, let's say we play I don't know, let's say we play like Forest away midweek, and we're coming up against a deep block. You probably start Kudus in that game with his 1v1 ability, and then let's say on the weekend we go to City where there's a lot more open space and you can get players in behind and finish off high value chances. That's probably a game you'd start Johnson in, and then neither of them would be super spent as far as their minutes and load. So I agree with your point, Soul Sniper, that I think Johnson just is a striker. Like realistically, even if you're playing him on the right side, like I remember Conte used to always talk about the three attackers in his formation as like just strikers. And it really comes down to like the profile that you have in those positions, regardless of, where they actually start off on the pitch. So
I kind of feel like he gets into the position, he ends in the position of being a striker, but he'll still be a winger. I think it's like when Sonny and Kane were so good together that Kane would drop in and play Sonny in behind, but he wasn't getting in behind out wide. He was getting in sort of between the fullbacks and the centre backs. And I feel like that's where Johnson's going to thrive the most is stretching the back line back a bit and playing with Solanke rather than sort of just being a striker by himself. I can't see him being a striker just solo, but coming in from the wing. And I think a lot of our wingers are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Frank likes that, where his wingers come in more and they're more inside wingers rather than outside wingers. So, and I think that suits Johnson, especially trying to get in behind as well. So, I think we'll see a lot of Johnson this year, and we've got a lot of games to play, and people are going to get injured and stuff like that. So, our depth in the forward line is going to get rotated, and we've got a lot of quality people there. So, he's definitely not getting ruled out as being a starter or playing half the games as well. So. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Especially pre-season is going to be so interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. With who plays where and that kind of thing. It's always exciting when you get a new manager, some new players, and you just want to sit down and just watch them, even if the games mean nothing.
It has made pre-season a bit more exciting, isn't it? Like I went and got my tickets to watch Reading away, and absolutely buzzing. I was all set up to go, and then my wife went, it's your son's birthday that day. I was like, yeah. Yeah, I knew that all along. I was just
it's his present.
Testing you. And I was like, so I did get 2 tickets for me and my son. Completely tried to kind of wing it around at the end. And she was like, he's 3 and he doesn't like football. Just because you keep buying him toys of Chirpy isn't going to win him over. So I'm not going to Reading away. But Paul, who's a friend of the show, has done pretty well out of me and my family commitments, because not only did he get my Europa League final ticket that went over my family holiday, he's now got 2 away tickets to Reading away. I guess that's a silver lining, kind of, isn't it? Do we bring in Walker Peters, guys? Do we need that's always bubbling around. Is it kind of just?
I think it's a really shrewd signing, honestly. Because we have currently a free hit at homegrown club trained in Europe. Homegrown club trained in Europe. And there are like 4 players we can sign that are reasonable to play in our system, and I think he's one of them. Really, I think he honestly might be the only one. Madueke just went to Arsenal.
He wouldn't have even worked, Madueke, unfortunately. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just missed it by a year.
Just a quick shout to Hisu before she goes to bed. Hisu and Andre, good to see you guys, legends.
Sirkin people in the chat, where my Sirkin fans at. That's where I'm with you guys.
I haven't watched Sunderland play much, so I don't want to talk about him. But just the stats, I just watching Kyle Walker-Peters. His defensively, he's just
really bad.
Not quite, not really bad, but like he
like
fits
for a Premier League footballer who's like amazing at football because he plays in the Premier League, but then you put him up against Champions League teams, and you go, if that's the bar, you're not it. But you're better than the club-grown right back we've got currently, which doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, there's Kyle Walker-Peters, he's out of contract, right? He's on a free, if I remember correctly. That's why I think he's like Sirkin is obvious. I think Sirkin is probably the better player and also has more of like a long-term potential. But he's on a recently promoted team, and they won't want to sell their players. If Sunderland go down again next season, then I think it's a player we look for after, I guess, after we see them get some Premier League experience. But I think like signing because we don't need to sign every player we sign doesn't need to be like a long-term future option. I think that he is a great 1 or 2 year.
We talking he's going to the Regulon role from last year. Played 2.5 games for the season.
and again, like, why not? Like, I think we get so like, but it could end up being a waste. Who cares? Like, when it's that little money, it's not going to move the needle for Tottenham. But it could move the needle if he can contribute to 3 goals next season. He's worth a few £1 million. Like he's worth it. Like if he's the difference between when you have a bit of an injury crisis to playing Archie Gray at right wing back out of position, or someone else to him, like he could be the difference between getting a few points and a couple of draws to losing a couple of games. And how often do we see the league table decided by 1 or 2 points between 4 or 5 positions? So I kind of feel like, go on Spurs. You wouldn't normally. You'd be too sensible. Just do it.
I just feel like with Kyle Walker-Peters, it's like I'm not against the signing, but I think we would have done it already if we were going to do it. Like he's open to the move. The wages wouldn't be like extortionate. And so, if we had the opportunity to get him in for preseason, he wasn't an international, fixture setup or anything. So I don't really know why we would be sort of umming and ahhing about that one. I think it's more likely he would go to like Sunderland or Leeds. I think I've seen both of those teams interested. I also am wondering, like with this Lange stuff, like those Anthony Robinson rumors were kind of floating around the other day. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that just like exploded. I mean, it's definitely fee dependent. But I think
that so much.
I think it would be fine. Like I don't think he's super technical, but I think his engine and what he could bring,
insane.
Yeah,
up and
like
down the field constantly.
If you watch him at, was it Anfield? Maybe he had this one game last season or the season before where he had like 14 recoveries in this game or something. Like he was just an absolute machine. Yeah. So that'd be.
What about the Moore situation? Does anyone feel like he might go out on loan?
I've heard, you hear the West Brom links, right, with Mason going there. I personally would like if he just kind of did a little bit of a Foden situation and just kind of hung around and grew progressively into the team. I wouldn't, at the same time, I wouldn't be annoyed if he went into the Championship. I think it would only help with, him getting up to speed with sort of Premier League physicality. So I guess I'm sort of indifferent.
Does he have to be at the club playing here, not out on loan for a certain period of time to then in the future count towards our homegrown situation?
From what I remember, it depends on where they're from. If they are from outside of the EU, they can go on loan, but I think it has to be within the UK. If they are from the EU, then they can go out on loan anywhere in the EU and it's fine. Because that was our issue with Sarr versus Arsenal's issue with Arsenal being able to count Saliba as homegrown, and we can't count Sarr as homegrown because Sarr isn't an EU citizen, or at least like he represents Senegal. So that's why, even though like the timings lined up remarkably well between the two of them, they can count Saliba and we can't count Sarr. So the rules are weird. They might change tomorrow. I might have understood them wrong. It's possible. I don't know, but for most of the players that we have, it's not that big of a deal. I think the only one that it really matters for is Yang. You would have to stay somewhere in the inside of the UK.
Yeah, for list B, it's 2 or more years at the club between the ages of 15 and 21. So more, I think, will just end up, doing it. I think he's already probably done it. So it's just a matter of him,
More could technically already be listed as a main player, but there's no reason to because he's on the B list, right?
Yeah. But I'm not sure about the other ones because obviously Sarr was the disappointing one that we couldn't get that one registered on the homegrown side. But I mean, next year I think also like Spurs might just be like we've already waited it out a year. We might as well just wait it out this one more year, and then have Archie Gray and Bergvall, registered as club trained moving forward. It's not like Kyle Walker-Peters or Sirkin would be disaster signings. I think the latter especially would be a pretty astute signing. But if it's surplus to requirements and it's really making sure that the players that we get in are exactly who the manager wants and that sort of thing, then I feel like may as well just ride it out until next year, and then it'll kind of snowball from there with Vuskovic and Yang and all these other kind of young players we've been signing.
Yeah, we are very close to this not mattering. Unfortunately, it matters
2 years
for like the next few years, but after that, we've set ourselves up for success. We just need to wait for the success to come in this specific.
The clubs have obviously realised that it's a future problem that we need. That's why we've spent last season signing so many young players, and this season too. So they never wanted to happen again. Obviously, Gary's comment. There's a lot of money there being spent. What do you guys think?
I think that is. I mean, screw it. I hear Barcelona has some financial problems.
Yes, come on, guys.
Lamine Yamal, come on, get
him in.
That would be. I mean, the Douglas Luiz, I think, is who you're referencing. Yeah. He hasn't had the best time betting in at Juventus from what I've seen, so he probably wouldn't be as expensive as you might expect him to be. But he came with a pretty hefty price tag from what I remember, and they'll be wanting to recoup at least most of that. So I don't think we'd be able to.
Well, Juventus are terrible at selling players and buying players, so
they're like you can have whoever you want. 20 million, just take them. So
I would if they offered us Douglas Luiz for 20 million, then I would not leave without him, and probably ask about 2 or 3 more players as well.
Cambiasso. I'd love Cambiasso for left back.
And I think that
you could literally, guys, though, wake up tomorrow to those 2 players being Spurs players.
We could.
That's literally how we work now. Like it wouldn't be weird. You'd be like, this is just how we do it. It's absolutely bonkers. I love it. Sorry, go on.
I like the Manu Kone shouts too. I've just seen Honest Truth drop that in there.
I'm a big fan of Manu Kone. He's a football manager legend for me.
Is he like a passy? Because we need like a passer, I think. And it's not even as much about a 6 that will break up play as much as it is a 6 that will control possession. Like my favorite 6 target, even though he's tiny, is Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart, just because he's like an absolute pass monster. So I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't watched Manu Kone since like French under 21s, if I'm honest. And I guess when they played against us, Roma. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Deej, as far as Kone, because I feel like he's more of a carrier. But
yeah, I need to go watch him some more to provide any bit of reasonable analysis. Oh, my camera's gone. That's fun. I'm pulling a Jim, but I think I need to watch him more.
Do you know what it is? Do you know why cameras are dying, by the way? It's the heat. It's my camera. I don't know,
What in
it's all-
England? Where did
Well, you're hot. Max is dying in heat.
Yeah, I'm on
Deej is
80.
dying
Oh,
in
mine
heat.
it is. The camera
I'm
is
dying
too
in
hot.
heat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they're
probably
all
about
so
10 degrees in Australia.
we're-
So
Oh well, you're in winter, so you're fine. But
that's
the
probably
rest of
about
us.
40 Fahrenheit. I'm not
Did I
exactly
show
sure.
you just to those watching? I haven't showed you my new toy. My wife was so happy when it arrived. That is.
Jimmy, I just thought you were massive, Jim. How big are you, mate? That's a full
This
size
is
trophy.
this is full size. Son had to hold it. Like, you see how different it looked when he held it up. Absolutely. But it's yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. It's actual metal replica. Yeah. Look at that. Absolutely love it.
Wow.
And this means that end of this season, I get the Champions League one
Oh
Well.
yeah. And the Premier League one too.
and the Premier
That's
League
crazy.
one, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. They're all going to be lined up. I can't wait.
Are we in a
Jimmy-
preseason cup too? Get that one too. Just throw them all in there.
Sure,
Yeah, are
there's
we up
always
for any
a
this
preseason
year?
cup.
Are
Super
there
Cup.
any?
We've got the Super Cup coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so many
true.
trophies.
PSG are so
trophies to win
terrible.
this year.
Look
It's
at
going
this,
to be
it's
so
gonna be
busy.
Norman, for the club trained players, I think it's just Austin. Am I
Yep.
Am I
I'm
missing
sorry.
anybody?
I've
Let me check
definitely
my
thought.
sheet again, but I think
And
so.
Norman, thank you for being a member, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
If you've got that little symbol next to you, that means you're a member, and that means you get loads of extra stuff, and you're going to get like an extra video every week from us. And we love you and appreciate you forever because you allow us to do this, and you're really cool. And it's only $1.99 a month, and you get all the videos early, and we prioritize your comments, and you're really cool. Anyway, sorry. So Norman, yeah, talking of members, yeah, you've already answered that question. Gary, Barella, did we already discuss that? Or am I making it up?
He would be. I think it would be a similar. Like it would be a transfer saga similar to Bastoni, in that I think he's just too tied to the club at this point. He's worth more to them than he is to us. I think just because he's Italian, he's been there for a while. The fans I'm pretty sure have a very positive opinion of him. It's not someone that you just let go of, and it's the same how it was. It's kind of how it was with Bastoni, where we probably could have bought him, but it would have been financially irresponsible because he's just worth because of like his stature. It's just the same reason like it was so hard to buy like a player like Kane off of us. He's worth more to the club he's at than any club that's willing to buy him. And I think that's the case with Barella, even though Barella's worth a lot to any club. He's just worth even more. There's all that plus the sentimental stuff and the club registration stuff and it's really hard to pry a player like that because like he's like the player that I think a lot of people would associate with Inter at the moment. So
I just don't see. There's certain players you get the feeling it's just not like you say.
He's one of those
worth
players
more
that
to them than he is to
I
us.
want him to stay there as well.
Yeah.
I want to be romantic
I
about
would
football.
agree. That's a Paratici link right there. That's a
It is
You
a
want-
never going to
you want
happen.
him to stay
Paratici
there
link.
more. You don't want to. Wouldn't you like to take like a player and like hasn't been quite like fun seeing like I looked at it's normal human nature, right? When you sign another club's player, well, you sign from another club. It's human nature to want to see how the other fans are reacting from the club that you're buying them from, and you'd be more disappointed if they were like, "Brilliant, got rid, well done Spurs, enjoy that guy." It feels better when they're like, "No, we can't lose this guy. He's mustard." And what I loved today was not just West Ham fans making have Kudus, but also the Forest fans are having an absolute meltdown over Gibbs White. So why would you? Yeah, I'd like to make a hat trick of Barella. Why not?
I think Barella is a few hat tricks by himself. Like, because for as much as Gibbs White has been for us for the last few seasons, and Kudus has been one of West Ham's best players, it would be like instead of signing Kudus from West Ham, it would have been like signing Jared Bowen from them. Like it's a completely different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, I love your Anderson comment, even though there's probably no way we would get him at this point, but what a player. Absolutely love Elliot Anderson.
Yeah. Shawnee, always with the golden nuggets, my friend. Guys, I will wrap up there because it is 1 a.m. in the UK right now. And I've got a busy day tomorrow of go on a mammoth tour on my motorbike, which I need to get my sleep for. But I hope that when I park up and look at my phone, there's 700 WhatsApp messages because we've signed someone else. And
players, yep.
If you're a regular to the show and you like content, can you do us a massive favor? Actually, could you give us a follow on on Instagram, because we've started doing that now, and we've had to start from ground zero because we've never really done it before. And we're on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to just hop on there and give us a follow, that'd be help. And if you listen to us on audio, by the way, on the audio pods like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever one you use, would you mind hopping on and giving us a review on there? Because for the whole sports podcast category in the world, we are 202 in the rankings.
Get us into the top 200.
Top 200 when you go on your iPhone or whatever. This is what Apple
Podcast
Podcasts.
Premier League is what they call it.
You're in the Prem. You're in the Premier League. Like, can you get Oso Spurs on the leaderboard? That would be class.
Baleba, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, that would be a dream.
That's a I think that, yeah, if we can't get Warden in, just because Warden is nice for squad registration stuff, Baleba is definitely another one that would be awesome. Very expensive, but it'd be awesome.
We're rich.
Well, I think we also got some new listeners tonight, guys, because there's time zones. We are going to be doing this more often. We're going to have the
as the season starts to roll back up. You'll be seeing a lot more of the international crew.
When something happens, we'll be back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, there will be, whether we like it or not, stuff will happen with Spurs every 24 hours starting in about 2 weeks' time. And sometimes it will be stuff we don't want to happen, but hopefully most of the time it's good stuff. But we will be doing these late shows. Let's make sure you subscribe as well, because I want to do this full time and want to give you more content, but I need to grow the show to a point where it can pay my mortgage. So I need your help to watch more stuff. And that really help. And yeah, we're really excited to do those more vids with you guys. Up the bloody Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Boys.
And I definitely didn't click the button in time, so we're still live.
Jim does this all the time.
I fumbled.
And
Fake out.
Good night.
Good night.